Crump, I'm Cal with the Star Tribune. At the hearing today, three of the defense attorneys said they wanted to bring in evidence regarding a 2019 Minneapolis case, a 2007 Texas case involving George. The judge said no to the Texas case is irrelevant. He said no from now on the Minneapolis case, but maybe we'll revisit that at trial. What do you think about the...
Repeat that last part of the question?
The judge said no to the Texas case being brought in, maybe to the Minnesota case, depending on what happens at trial. What are your thoughts on the allegations made in those two cases against George? One attorney said it showed that he was, quote, a violent person.
Well, all I would say, when you look at that video, the only people who are being violent on that video is the Minneapolis Police Department. When you watch that video, you see George being the person, seem like he's de-escalating the situation. I mean, that video is very telling because it's emblematic of every black person in America who is trying to justify to the police that you don't have to kill me. That's what you hear when George Floyd is telling them, I'm not that type of guy. I don't know if any of the other counselors want to address it.
What does violence have to do with this situation? They tell you comply. He was complying. He was begging. He was crying. He was screaming. He was... What more do you want to show non-violence? So to try and bring violence into a situation where he was being actually harmless in his actions and pleading, it's no relevance. And I think at the real trial, the judge is still going to not let it in.
And I just want to add, this is what happens every single time. We get killed, and then we get killed again in court. So you're getting killed multiple times for no reason. So this is what we want to stop. An assassination, and then a character assassination. That has to end.
Ben, what about this idea that some of the defense is making that George overdosed on drugs? It came up several times. What's your response to that?
I'm going to have my co-counsel, Tony Romanucci, take that in. It's asinine, but... Yeah.
As I said earlier, it's really a desperate defense. It's like a reality show, desperate defenses. That overdose that they're claiming that is the false narrative in this case. There is no doubt that he died from mechanical asphyxiation. They want to coincidentally say that whatever drugs were in his system killed him at the same time that the knee on the neck and the pressure on his back killed him. And that's the falsity of this. So when you look at this from a legal perspective, the causation perspective, those drugs did nothing to him because we know that he had situational awareness. He was cooperative. He was begging to do what we all are doing as a matter of right, and that is breathing. He wanted an oxygen exchange between his brain and his lungs, and he was denied that when he asked, please, may I breathe? That drug defense is desperate, it will fail, and it's false.
What do you think about the change in venue?
I will say this. And let's be clear about this. The only overdose that killed George Floyd was an overdose of excessive force and racism by the Minneapolis Police Department. Let's just be clear about that. All right, a few more questions.
What do you think about the other arguments made, the push to change the venue, also the push to try all four former officers?
Okay.
What's your opinion on
We're going to have Jeff Storms address that and about the change of venue. We'll have Attorney Scott Masterson address the issue with the four officers being tried at once or not.
The goal in them trying to change venue is to try to find as many jurors as they can find that don't look like George Floyd. And that is the only goal. The only goal, and let me take my mask off just so y'all can hear me. Everyone's away. The only goal they have in trying to change venues is to get as many jurors as possible who do not look like George Floyd. They don't want jurors that look like you. No, they do not.
Scott Masterson will answer the question about whether they have joinder or they try them separately. They are bringing that question up, Scott.
I'll be brief. Guilty is guilty.
All right, one last question, then we got to go. Yes, ma'am. Last question.
Filings there were mentionings about gang affiliation and confidential informants, and the judge said there was there any proof of that, and they said they could not find that. What do you think about that being?
It is a blatant attempt to kill George Floyd a second time. They kill a person and then they assassinate our character. And that will not hold because everybody saw that video, not just across Minneapolis, not just across Minnesota, not just across America, but all across the world. The whole world is watching. 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 The whole